Hello everyone, it is Erin Floto here, and today we are moving into the second half of the year. We are setting things up, but before I do that, I do want to preface this video because at the beginning of the year, my whole brain, my whole livelihood, my whole feeling of bullet journaling felt really good in a B5. And as of very recently, that is not the case. So I am actually going to be moving into an A5, back into an A5. This is where I started my bullet journaling journey. And then I needed a B5 because I needed more space. I'm moving back to an A5 because working in my bullet journal day to day has not been so great. So we are moving back into an A5. This is an Archer and Olive. And let's go ahead and start setting up. Okay, so we are into the setup. So I wanted to keep things super simple for this setup just because all of my themes in 2025 have been a little on the chaotic side since, for me at least, I have been combining two things that don't necessarily go together for each monthly theme in 2025. And so that has kind of created a little bit of chaos, which, to be honest, I'm living for a monthly setup. But for an annual setup, I decided to go super simple and basically use the imagery from the cover of this A5 bullet journal since it's so pretty and kind of carry that into the setup for the beginning of the year. So these are my annual spreads for part 2 of 2025. And instead of going like full sketch, because the cover is like gold, a lot of it isn't like super detailed, so I wanted to go with a very sketchy style for the actual like foliage as well. The next page I'm setting up is my future log, and I decided to keep, again, things a little more simple, especially because I'm in an A5 and I'm not used to this size right now. It's been a hot minute since I've used an A5 bullet journal. So I really wanted to keep things simple. I didn't want to add headers to everything. I mean, this is very indicative of a future log, so I didn't feel the need to add the header for a future log. And not adding the header made things space out much more nicely, so I decided to go ahead and do that. And of course, I messed up my future log, but it is what it is. So I basically do what I always do for the future log. I add my little monthly calendars, and then I have a space next to it somehow to note the important dates in that month. So I set it up with this little gingham pattern, which honestly is super cute. I do love that look. And then I set up some lines next to each of the months. That way I could write in the events for the month. Moving on, we have like my medical pages. So the left hand side is a medical reference page. So this is basically where I put in all of the future doctor's appointments and anything medically related. I also have a space for like things for my dogs for grooming, or if the cat has to go to the vet or whatever. So I include myself, my husband, my child, and then all of my animals. So I will have a color code. I didn't include the color code for this one because honestly, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the color code because I left the color palette really simple and I don't have enough colors for all the members of my family. There's 3 of us humans and then 4 animals. So I need quite a bit of space and quite a lot of colors to be able to note each one. So basically what I would do is I would use the color code, mark it in on the day that that person has a doctor's appointment, and then put on the right hand side the date of the appointment and the type of appointment. So for example, if I have September 1st, I have a doctor's appointment, whatever color I am, I would mark that down, and then over on the right I would put September 1st and then put the type of doctor that I'm seeing that day. And then on the right hand side, I have my body statistics. So this is not a spread that I always like, but I actually am working on weight loss a lot. So I do think that it's kind of important to like track where I have been. So I'm finally done breastfeeding, which means that I can kind of kickstart all of this, because while I was breastfeeding, I was so hungry all of the time and I could never lose weight, no matter like what I was trying. It was also really chaotic, with the baby and trying to find a workout routine, and I'm slowly getting back into all of those routines. So hi Mason. I'm excited, for the first time in a long time, to do my body statistics page. And then we have a final page of this setup. I didn't want to go too crazy because I have noticed that me using annual pages has not been super great. So I didn't want to add a whole bunch, especially because I'm going to have to go back into my first notebook to fill out some of the annual pages there. So I actually have to keep that on my desk. So I didn't want to replicate a lot of those things when I'm going to have to go back in there anyways to fill it out. So on the left, I have a goals page, and I use the Eisenhower matrix to do this goals page. So it's having a do, decide, delegate, and delete, when it comes to your goals and things that you need to do. And then I have a core values section, which I thought would be interesting going along with this. And it's tying back in my word of the year. So I have nourish self-discipline, nourish strength, nourish connection, nourish growth. So those are going to be like each of the areas of my life and how my goals go with those types of core values. So I wanted to pair those things together. And then I wanted to bring back in my word of the year to be like, okay, well, these are the things that I was thinking about when I made that word of the year. So let me go ahead and try to incorporate it in this second half of the year. And that is my entire setup. I know it's simple, I know it's short, but I do love how it ended up turning out. I'm really excited to get back into this notebook, back into an A5. It's a little weird for me, but I am very excited about it. And the gold just looks great. And I will see you next time. We'll have my July set up next week. Bye, everyone.